All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a special episode of the P Show, number 3, first joint motion episode. I got the chef god himself right here.
Hey. What's up? What's up, everybody?
Hey, how y'all doing? We in the South Bay. We're just here to talk about, the motion project, what we're working on, what it means to us and all that stuff.
Really just where it started and all that, I know that we get a lot of questions from people personally close to us, like, where did the motivation come from? Why motion? Why this? Why that? So maybe by the end of this little segment here, you guys will have a better idea of like some of the reasons why we are motivated to move in the ways that we are within the music industry out in the Bay Area here.
Hell yeah, man. So yeah, basically we just met through a mutual friend at work. We started running sessions at his place,
Dark times. We don't gotta get into that, but that's dark times.
That's the origins at least. But we moved past that, we got our feet wet with the whole stew shit. But we moved on, There's always a point where you have to step it up.
Absolutely. I mean, I think at the end of the day, the important thing was like you, for one, recognizing what's real in that situation, and then just, both of us identifying that we had a vision that matched, and then we just stuck with it.
Right. No, for sure, bro.
I think that, one of the biggest questions that people ask me is like, why is music so important to me? And I think that, one thing that I've never really actually asked you as much time as we've spent together is like, what's the drive with music from you, bro? Like, where does that come from?
Dude, like, honestly, it's the only thing that ever like made sense to me. Like, I can't really, there's a lot of stuff that I feel like I would never express or feel like without it. Like, it's got me through the worst times, the best times. So I just want to pay that forward and help other people create that kind of thing too.
Right.
How about you, Chef?
Right. I mean, the biggest thing for me was just being exposed to so much music at such a young age. My parents have great tastes that are kind of all over the board. And, when I was probably 11 or 12, I picked up a trumpet. That was the first instrument I started on, and it really stuck for me. I trained classical and jazz through middle school and high school, and was always involved in music in some way or another. Kind of like you, it just kind of kept me busy and saved me from a lot of stuff that I probably wouldn't have ended up in a good place because of. So, I think that's a similarity we have.
No, definitely, man. Yeah, and that ties back into the motion stuff. It's like, this is all we know how to do. So once we got our process locked in, like, we just been off to the races. Like, we never really stopped.
I mean, like, we really in here sometimes doing like 7, 8 songs, 9 songs, 10 songs in a session. And, that's not to gloat. That's just kind of the way that we work. And it works for us, Some people take a long time to work on a single project. Sometimes we'll just knock something out that we think sounds good. And, we're in that SoundCloud era right now, and that doesn't bug me at all because we have the freedom to throw out those projects whenever we want without too much restriction. And it's been really freeing, I think, for both of us in terms of kind of identifying our voice and figuring out like what our sound is supposed to be. And we work with multiple different kinds of music in terms of genre, and I think that that's something that I'm hoping, people can find like interest in, moving forward, bro.
No, 100%. We're at a unique point where we're like about to cross over to the next step, and we're like solidifying what we're doing. So it's really cool to see like the progress. Like, if you go to our first tape, you can just see how we've progressed and kind of solidify that sound for sure.
No, yeah, absolutely. And there's definite change. There's definite noticeable, change in our skill set from a production standpoint, a writing standpoint, a lyrical standpoint. I'm not out here to gloat. We're just artists trying to kind of find our way and, make something out of what we feel like we want to make something out of. And my biggest thing is, in hip hop in particular, we get so much, exposure to just this like whole cap industry. Not to talk shit either, but everybody lies, and it's like, how do you filter out how you make yourself sound authentic when everybody's saying this or that about going out and doing, you know, X, Y, and Z, you know, not to specify, but you know how it is. Everybody's rapping about how they got $1 million, and everybody's rapping about how they got the Bugatti and all that shit. And, you know, sure, that would be dope, but like my end goal is really just to spread a message and be positive out here, because music is one of the only ways that I can find a way to kind of dig into myself and find that positivity.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with that for sure, bro. It's definitely a great tool to explore yourself, to connect with other people. It's communication at the end of the day. So, you know, it's just dope to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And then like, it's really cool thinking about, like, we've had conversations about, like, your first instrument was percussion. You know, I started with brass. My brother in middle school was working on like GarageBand, really early era GarageBand, and he was making like techno albums and burning them onto CDs, and I started watching him do that, and I picked it up, and then, you know, I messed with that a little bit. So there's always been kind of that interest in creating music electronically too. So this has been a huge opportunity, and you've taught me a lot, because when I stepped onto using like Fruit Loops, I really had no idea what I was doing, and there's so much to that program that it can be so complicated, and we're still learning every day, but like it's really fun to see the progression.
Yeah, man, it's dope too, because like you've pushed me to write more and like get on tracks more. I've helped you with like the production side here and there, so we just been really well-rounded.
Right, like we learn from each other and through one another, and then we're always like open to that criticism. I think one thing that we're very fortunate in as far as our working partnership is that you and I don't really take the criticism that we throw at each other, whether it's harsh or whether it's more from a personal aspect or a business aspect. We don't really ever take it in the wrong way, because at the end of the day, I still feel like we are you know, able to focus in on what we truly want at the end of the day.
No, for real, 100%. We've gotten to that stage where we just know that we're in it for the right things, and we have that space, you know, that we built to be able to have those conversations. So that's important for sure if you're collaborating, man, with anyone.
Yeah, that's, you know, and you bring up a good word. Collaboration, really, I think that you spoke about this in a recent episode of this little program we got going right now. Collaboration is really what's important, I think, to both of us. I think that I'm trying to build a network musically that I wanted like dearly when I was a kid, that I really was never able to find a lane into and build in terms of my own feelings around it, you know. And it's really a wonderful opportunity that you and I have been able to kind of create that environment, because really I think about like a huge inspiration for me is like The Alchemist. He's probably one of the, hands down, in my opinion, greatest producers we have breathing right now.
100%.
And I think you look at the way that he's created his network, and it was really all from the ground up, you know. And he's worked with so many lyricists that I'm, you know, so enthralled by in terms of the way that they write and the sound that they're able to use. I saw him live with Freddie Gibbs in San Francisco back in November, and it was probably one of the greatest shows I think I've ever seen. I would recommend that if you haven't heard Alfredo 2, go listen to it.
Yeah, shout out to Freddie Gibbs, man.
Yeah, no, shit. Now I feel like I'm glazing. But
no, you know, that's good, because that's inspiration, bro, you know?
Yeah, you know, sometimes we just gotta talk about it, but it's really cool. And I think that one thing that we have is like a perspective from two sides of the industry, being on the outside of some of the more raw things that people that we aren't part of a community from, you know, have to go through. And I don't want to take my, you know, privilege that, I mean, realistically, I was given by default and not use that to help the communities around me. Because without the things that those people experienced, and without the music they made because of it, and all of the, you know, pain that these communities have to go through still to this day, I think that I wouldn't have, you know, the music industry that I love so much, because it's so based in, you know, circumstances like that. So I want to pay respect to the industry. You know, I think my biggest thing is I don't want anybody thinking that I'm in here trying to be like the next white rapper. You know, I think that I'm all about just trying to make music that hopefully some people find authentic, maybe not, but I mean, that goes for anybody in the industry, bro. You can't avoid that, you know?
No, definitely. It's like at the end of the day, you love what you love and you're going to support that. And we're just trying to, you know, spread the positivity, man, support other artists. And, you know, yeah, we're just in it, man.
Hell yeah. I mean, I think we'll go ahead and cut that little convo short. You know, we got some studio time we got to get into. We've got projects we're working on. All I'll say is I keep delaying the full album, but it's coming. I've got merchandise that you guys can hit up either myself or Luke for. I'll get you prices and sizing. You just got to let me know. It's I'll pay for the shipping. I don't even care. You know, I just want my name out and his name out. We just trying to spread the word. We got a lot we have in store, and you know, I hope you guys appreciate the time, you know, and we appreciate you for watching.
Hell yeah, it's all love, man. Hit us up, let us know what you think, what's going on with you. But yeah, we're gonna run into this session right now. We'll catch you all.
Shout out mom, shout out dad. You know,
hey,
I feel like, you know, one more thing real quick, not to be corny, but I wouldn't be here if they didn't push me the way that they do, you know, and that goes into everything. You know, it's all about the family.
100% family, friends. Thank you to everyone who's supporting us out here.
Yes,
we
sir.
really appreciate it from the bottom of our heart.
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah.
Peace.